Hi guys, Ange here. Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to my channel. Today's video is just a brief catch up on what is happening at the moment, as I may not be able to post 2 videos a week, of which I have been trying very hard to keep the consistency going. 10 days ago just to sort of give you an overview, in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2010, September 2010, we had a big magnitude earthquake that devastated a lot of people, especially in the area that we are currently living at the moment in Kaiapoi. They were quite badly affected, a lot of homes lost. And we were, well, it was brought to our attention things like liquefaction and stuff that we had actually never even thought of in our lives. And it was super scary because when it happened, it was in the middle of the night, which was probably a really good thing because lives were saved because it was in the middle of the night. But when you left your house and you ran out into the street and you saw geysers of water and mud coming out of the ground, and you couldn't explain it because you weren't a scientist and didn't know what was happening, it was all very scary. Of course, the power was out and, you know, you were relying on torches and things. So that was in September 2010. In February 2011, we actually had a very devastating earthquake. It took lives. It was in the middle of the day, so the city was very busy, and the city really wore the brunt of it and was where most of the lives were lost. There were a lot of areas, especially where we were living at the time, that were severely affected with the liquefaction. Houses fell down. It was a really terrifying time. I know in the street we were living at, my husband was out of town at the time, and I rang him in the middle of it all going pear-shaped. And he was out of town and he was driving back, and he couldn't comprehend what had happened because as he was coming around the outskirts of Christchurch, he wasn't seeing any signs of an earthquake until he got closer to our home. We were quite underwater, probably thigh deep in our street, where the water and had all come to the surface. Lots of cars got stopped, so he had to walk back home. Any house that was brick and had chimneys, most of those homes lost their chimneys, etc. So there was a lot of devastation. To cut a very long story short, we were one of the people that, although our house was inhabitable, it was a rebuild. We were on red zoned land. The government red zoned patches of land that they felt were unable to be occupied by residents, and so the government, if you were insured, guaranteed to buy you out of your property, out of the valuation or government valuation of your home. So we knew at least we were going to get that. We moved swiftly and we came out to the suburb of Kaiapoi, where it had been hit very, very hard in the first earthquake in 2010. But there was a new subdivision out here, so we built out here very, very soon as we could. We moved rather quickly, and so we've been in this home for 6 years. I love it out here. It's a beautiful community. I work here, it's where my school is, that I go to work each day. I really do love it out here. So after all the trauma of the earthquakes and all the stress that went with that, we've been living a really good life here in Kaiapoi for 6 years. Why I've had to tell you that story is that every now and then we are on the outskirts of the city of Christchurch in what is called North Canterbury, and our family is quite active, probably the rest of the family more than me, but I do join in, and the rest of the family, excluding me, love surfing, do a lot of surfing, and even though we live close to the sea here, they tend to travel to another area of Christchurch where the surf is better. So they travel there a wee bit. They also travel to the other side of town because there's some beautiful walks up on the hill, and I walk the hills and they bike it and run it. So I'll walk, run down, but we all try to get involved as a family. And it's on the other side of town. It's about a 45-minute drive from where we live, which is probably, in the scheme of things of people living in bigger cities, that's nothing. My husband also travels into town. My children travel into town. My daughter for school, my son for work. I'm the fortunate one because I work 5 minutes up the road, so I can come home in my lunch break, etc. So they've always said, oh, we want to live closer to town, you know, etc, etc. And every now and then, and I mean every now and then, I think I've done it twice since we've living here, we have this realty book. And about a year ago I brought this realty book home and said to my husband, well, that's the sort of house you need to purchase if you want me to go and live back in town, because I love it so much out here. We went and had a look at it. We loved it, really did love it, but it was a big step up from where we were here. We decided, you know, even though the house was beautiful and it was in a great location, we couldn't justify the step up in cost. So me being me, thinking I'm being a bit of a smarty, I picked up this realtor book again, and I don't do it very often. I probably pick it up once every 3 months. I'll flick through it, but this particular time I saw something that I knew my husband was like. So I put it in his office and said, ha, there's another house. Well, he really liked it. So he looked at it, and then he drove up the next day to have a look at it. Then he drove up the day after that to have another look at it. Then I thought, day after that, third day, I think, well, if you've gone and seen it, and this is only from the outside, I want to go and have a look at it. So I went and had a look at it too, and the view is phenomenal. And then we went through the open home on the 4th day. Then we went back on the 5th day thinking it was another open home and we were going to go through it again, to discover that it actually wasn't. So we were very fortunate. The owners took us through the house. The rest of the family absolutely fell in love with this house, and to try and shorten the story, we have purchased it. So literally 10 days after bringing the blue book home, we owned this other house that was never on the cards of us doing. It was just hearsay. So things are a wee bit stressful here at the moment because we have 3 weeks to pack up and leave. We have to put this house on the market and sell it, although we are still moving to the other house. So my filming schedule is going to be very hard to accommodate. With all the cleaning I've been doing around the house and the packing, I said I needed an hour today to put aside to do some films, but I may only be putting one film up a day. I may only be putting up one film a week until we get settled in the new home and I can get a filming schedule underway again. So I apologise that things may be a little bit inconsistent, but this is a huge life-changing event that has happened. So yeah, very, very different. When we get in there, I will show you the view. We actually have purchased a house up a hill and we overlook the sea. So it's absolutely stunning. It has the view, probably in the pros list, takes up about 10 of those boxes. There are some things that I'm losing going there, and there are some things like our caravan, we have to sort out where we're going to store it and things like that, but we will come to those problems as we one by one and solve them. But I will show you a beautiful view of the house. In fact, I'll put a clip of the view here and why it was so tempting to make this decision. So I just want to say thanks, guys. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for tuning in and watching. I just did want to explain why things might slow down a wee bit. I just don't want to be under pressure with something else when we've got so many changes going on. I'm also going to have to travel about 45 minutes to and from work each day, which is a huge change from 5 minutes. So I do work with some amazing people and I really enjoy the interaction with the kiddies that I have each day. So I will continue with that. So as I said, thank you for persevering with me. Thoroughly appreciate your support and I will see you in my next video. See you guys. Bye.